How's it going, everybody? It's been a while since I did one of these. It is no longer the Neon Manta Rant Trap. We are rebranding, repackaging, and remaking it into something a little bit newer, a little more fresher, and a little more involved. It's no longer Neon Manta, it's now Neon Ranta. Welcome to the stupid-ass show where my patrons, what, no, not trademark, what am I thinking of, to be determined, because there will be a Patreon opening up for my account soon in the near future. But first, I've got a bit of a proto patron, a longtime fan, longtime watcher of the channel, Funky Boy Haas, who has submitted a rant for me saying, "How much would I have to pay you to do a rant about Death Grip's album in a timely manner?" To which he then offered a, quite honestly, ridiculously lucrative amount of money for me to talk about Exmilitary by Death Grips. So I told him, hey, you know what? Who am I to deprive you of your Death Grips reviewification and my education on one of his favorite bands? So today's rant will be about reviewing Exmilitary by Death Grips. Now, I am not too familiar on the history of Death Grips. I believe they started in about 2011. They are pretty well known for being this industrial hip-hop kind of genre, a subgenre of rap. And I'm not the biggest fan... Oh, excuse me. I am not the biggest fan, I would say, of this kind of industrial level hip-hop. I don't like the kind of music that they do, because to me, it's kind of more like noise as opposed to, you know, like flow and, nice sounding songs. Not to say that I am above listening to some good old fashioned noise music every now and then. But, and as opposed to like listening to like a whole group about it, it's not one of, my go-tos. But, I gave it a listen, and you know what? It was better than I thought it was going to be, and it was a decent experience overall. I'll go down the list here of the songs, starting with Beware, and right off the bat, it opens with a soundbite of Charles Manson talking about, why do I gotta work when I got a motorcycle, a sleeping bag, and 10 to 15 bitches on my dick at any given point. I'm kind of like set for life. What more do I need to accomplish? Why do I need to contribute to society? Nope, I've got everything I need. Base alert, Charles Manson did nothing wrong. Okay. But as for the song itself, I will say this one off the bat, probably my least favorite. There's one other song on here that I think, actually, you know what? No, this one is my least favorite. So let's start with the best first impression. Don't get me wrong, the lyrics in the song are pretty tough. They are pretty rad. But the way that they sing it, I say they, but I think there's only one like vocalist in Death Grips. I might be mistaken. I think Death Grips consists of like 3 members, if I'm not mistaken. But the way that the vocalist sings this one, it got on my nerves. It's kind of like repetitive chant rapping with this echoey filter placed over it, and then that wouldn't be so bad by itself if you didn't like perform it in like the same structure throughout the entire like 5-minute song, where he's like, I am the beast I worship, I am the shit I farted, I don't know how to potty, and he sings it like that the entire song, and like it's fine for a chorus, doesn't really do it for me for like a whole entire 5-minute song. Like it makes for good slam poetry, but on the basis of like being a kick-ass, it would also make like these lyrics would make for like a kick-ass like hardcore metal song if they were like sung death metal style, but for just like a rap, it doesn't make for a good rap. I went through every song, I listened to them a couple times each, and I took note of my favorite lyrics from each song, or at least ones that I thought jumped out to me. So my favorite for this one is "Wage war like no tomorrow, 'cause no hell there won't be one. For all who deny the struggle, the triumphant overcome." Big fan of people who put the fucking work in will get the fucking the work out. But yeah, Beware, not great, not a fan. Definitely my least favorite track on the album. I guess I shouldn't say album because technically a mixtape, which I just learned the definitional difference of while researching for this rant. A mixtape is just an album that you release for free and not commercially. But next song, Guillotine. Now I actually have heard this song before this. I was asked to do this rant, and I just never realized that it was a Death Grip song. But this one definitely one that I have enjoyed in the past. Just going, it goes, guillotine. Very, very fun, very great. It was this song that made me realize that the rapper, throughout for Death Grips, rather not just throughout this album, but he sounds the most similar to me of this might be kind of a deep pull, but Trey Dot from the Anarchy Reigns soundtrack. If you look up that soundtrack and listen to Trey Dot's tracks from that soundtrack, and then listen to these Death Grip songs, it's almost one for one. Like almost, they're almost like identical. They are different people. I had to confirm that. Like, wait, did Anarchy Reigns like have Death Grips like when Death Grips was like first starting out, or? But yeah. I will say this song was I like this song. I almost loved this song. I wanted to give it I have a when it comes to rating songs as opposed to like shows or movies and games and whatnot. I rate individual songs out of 5 because I feel like rating a song out of 10 is kind of like too wide a berth of or wide of a scale for a song that will range from like 3 to 5 minutes. I will say the Beware was a 2 out of 5. This one was almost a 4 out of 5. And then the last minute of the song happens where the singing drops out and it just ends with like a whole minute of high-pitched beeps and boops that sound like they sampled a cleaning rag. Like they took a table and they coated it with like 5 layers of fucking Mr. Sheen and then put a microphone directly up to the table, then took a rag and started wiping it on the table and getting the squeaking sound, making it as like extra squeaky and high-pitched as possible. It's a horrible vibe killer, and it's honestly painful to listen to. So that kind of killed the vibe of the song for me at the end. So like now every time I re-listen to Guillotine, I have to be like, oh, it's the last minute of the song. Time to skip it and go to the next song. So that's a crying shame. Then we go to Spread Eagle Cross the Block. I will say, similar to Beware, not a fan of the filter that they put over the vocalist over the song. It just makes it like a little more obnoxious to listen to than it needs to be, in my opinion. And again, that's like the whole thing with industrial hip hop. It's not uncommon for it to have they put over this filter to give it that industrial rough aesthetic audibly, and it's just really not my not my thing most of the time. But thankfully they don't do it in every song, or like when they do it, sometimes they don't like go as hard in the filters as they do with Beware or this song. I will say, I'm just realizing I thought I didn't have a favorite lyric in Guillotine because I took notes on all my thoughts throughout my multiple listens of this album, but then I realized my favorite lyric was just the chorus of it goes guillotine. So, favorite lyrics for Spread Eagle Across the Block gotta be work that angle till it's beveled, curve of the blade doubled, edge made to bleed in the struggle, best believe the game's a hustle. I just appreciated that they worked in 3 different geometry, 3D geometry terms into one lyric. That's some low-key nerd shit that I respect as someone who used to fuck with Maya back in the day. Yeah, this song's basically just about being so good at fucking music, quite literally. And I like it. It's alright. It's not the most memorable excuse me. Not the most memorable song on the soundtrack. but it's fine. It's good. Then we got Lord of the Game. The beat sounds like me when I see a woman's boobies. That's exactly the sound I make. I forget how it goes now. I should probably re-listen to the song. But if you know how the beat sounds like that, that's what I wrote in my notes. So I'm sure if I were to re-listen to the song right now, I would it would be like, oh, that's what I meant when I said that. I'm sure there's probably like some kind of like boing effect. It's a pretty cool hype song. I'd say favorite lyric for this one be "Fuck where you're from, fuck where you're going. It's all about where you're at." Like hell yeah, Mr. Grips. I fuck with that ideology. Very much. I don't give a shit what you've done in the past, and I don't care, what you're working on as long as you're fucking a real one in the now. So yeah, it was like so far in this album, there are a couple song. Well, I guess there's only been one bad song so far, but a few like all right songs, and then we get to Tachyon, parentheses Deathyon. This one's great. This one's a solid 4. I my favorite part of this song was going into the comments section on the playlist on YouTube because this album isn't available on streaming or digital store platforms because it was a mixtape and they sampled a bunch of different songs that they unlicensed. Yeah, they had a bunch of unlicensed samples that they couldn't sell because of that. So that's why it's a mixtape. And so the comment section on YouTube for this song were all just full of Agnes Tachyon glaze from Uma Musume. And you know what? This song would make for a fucking fire-ass Agnes Tachyon AMV edit. So you know what? I'm just gonna treat this as an unofficial theme of Agnes Tachyon. And you know what? Psy Games are cowards for not licensing this song for the anime movie that they made about her in Jungle Pocket. Out of the blue, into the back, door coming through like, fuck, what was that? Man, I don't know, but it made me feel so heated. How we creep without showing you jack, shit from below, give a shit if you know, cause even if you did, you keep coming back. It's like these lyrics were made to just envision Agnes Tachyon running down the track, blowing past everyone in the fuck-ass lab coat with the sleeves too big. Yeah, great song. Tachyon! 4 out of 5, love it. This album also has a couple interlude songs, which I don't think I cared for either one of them. Cutthroat, no, I won't give a rating for it because like less than a minute long and it's just an interlude track, but it doesn't sound great, so that one's a always skip. Then we got Clink, which is your typical fuck the police song. I like the guitar riff that they use in the background. The comments said it was sourced from a group called Black Flag. And I've never heard of it, but it sounds pretty good. It sounded pretty lit. I will say this song, no particular lyrics jumped out at me. It was just kind of one of those, like I said, a pretty standard fuck the police song. And it does end with I did like how it ended with a hold phone support line tune, like please hold while we like transfer your call. And it plays the kind of tune you would hear for something like that, which I guess was meant to encapsulate the feeling, what it feels like to have your rights read to you by and then it leads into that when it's like, oh, so it's like an industrial, well, not industrial, a societal thing where it's like, oh yeah, it's like having your rights read to you by the fucking police makes it feel like you're sitting on hold in the support line trying to get your fucking credit card unstolen. Another fine song. We've only had one really standout song for me so far, but then we get to Culture Shock, and now we're back up to the 4 out of 5 range. It's hard to believe. I looked at the Rate Your Music track credits for this song, and unless I'm being lied to, it is hard to believe that this song is being performed by the same guy who's been performing all of the other songs on the mixtape. Because he sounds a lot more subdued and laid back, and definitely not as aggressive and fierce as this last guy has been. What you gonna be when you're grown, young blood? Gonna be a mindless drone, will never have to think. No, your head will be linked directly to your cell phone. The virus is alive, I can see it in your eyes. The infection is full blown. Damn, I can't believe Death Grips predicted brain rot for Gen Z. They were truly ahead of their time. I love the like I said, I love the toned down vibe of the song. It makes for a dope outlier for the rest of the album. I liked the use of technological Satanism in the track, equating the rise of technology to the downfall of humanity. We're praising a devil by a different shape, by with the digital devil. I'm always a fan of that kind of aesthetic, and it contributed to how much that I enjoyed this song. If I wanted to praise this song, I would say it reminds me of Octo Expansion music from Splatoon 2. And if I were trying to slander it, I would say it reminds me of Friday Night Funkin' music. I don't know. I say that as a joke, but like I could hear it go both ways. I just wrote that in my notes because I thought it'd be funny. But I do like the song, and it's one of my favorites on the mixtape. We lead into another interlude track with a 5D because we're going to the fifth dimension. Because at the end of the song, some like digital robot lady is saying that we're now ascending from the third dimension to the fourth dimension to the fifth dimension. Honestly, this didn't need to be its own track. They could have just cut the length of this interlude in half and put it at the end of Culture Shock, and it would have fit a lot better. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of interlude tracks in general, because it's like unless you're gonna do like a whole instrumental song, like what's the point? What's the point of putting in like a 30 to 45-second instrumental riff when you could have just put that at the end of the song and make it, one cohesive listening experience, whereas opposed to like if I'm playing like a playlist on shuffle of like different songs from different albums and then the 30-second interlude track shows up in the playlist, I'm like, well, without the addition of like the song that's either preceding or going to be followed up by, it's like, what's the point of listening to it on its own? Then we got Through the Walls, which we're going back down to the territory of songs I don't care for. We had so many good beats in the last few tracks that I forgot what these schizophrenic beats sounded like. So, thank you, Through the Walls. Very cool. Did not care for how that one sounded at all. Lyric that jumped out at me in this song was staring at the ceiling in the dark, try not to let the feeling tear you apart, but the silence is buzzing and it won't stop. Tell yourself it's almost over, but it's not. Very, solid, direct to the point, punchy description of, sometimes you get that sinking, dreading feeling of depression or feeling like that's like, oh, I hope this feeling goes away, but it just, sometimes it just don't go away. I want to like this song more than I do, but like the beat is like literally, I have written my notes here. The beat is one step removed from being penis music. So and that I do mean as derogatory. So not big on Through the Walls. We take another step back up to good territory with Known for It, which is a pretty, in the same way that Clink is your pretty standard fuck the police song. This is a pretty standard talk yo shit king, let yo nuts hang song. I appreciate the discordant keyboard track where it sounds, because it's discordant, it doesn't sound like the best, but it doesn't sound like bad in like a hard to listen to way, if that makes sense. It sounds pretty, it's fascinating, where it's like, oh, okay, it's interesting that it's like this keyboard is playing slightly out of tune, but it works with the track. My favorite lyric on this one is hold on. Oh, excuse me. God damn it. My throat. Keep 'em guessing endlessly, never let 'em know where you're headed. King of the unknown, cloaked in mystery. How to show 'em they don't mean shit to me. Damn, it's like how most people, myself included, want to do things like YouTube for real because they want to do whatever they want, but unfortunately they gotta be constricted to the goddamn algorithm. All hail its benevolent wisdom. Please recommend this video to all Death Grips fans so I can be lambasted in the comments for not getting it. Then we get to the last great song on the track, on the mixtape, in my opinion, with I Want It, I Need It, Death Heated, which is just a song about getting that puss. I love responsibility is cool, but there's more things in life, like getting your dick rode all fucking night by the kind of girl that knows how to keep her shit tight. I just love the song's literally just about fucking, and it's like 6 minutes long. It's just a 6 minute song about getting your dick wet, king, and it's just fucking great. I have no deeper thoughts on it than that. I looked at the comments, and now I can't hear. I can't unhear. I want it, I need it, I need to make it. No, I said it wrong. I want it, I need it to make me fajitas. But yeah, no, the song is great. I love how the vocalist is just going in on how much he needs that good puss, man, and he needs it bad. Then we end the mixtape off on Blood Creepin', another pretty good song. Just one about doing a shit ton of drugs and running from the cops. I like that the oh part of it is used as like in place of the police sirens. I thought that was a cool bit of there's got to be a term for this that I just am too stupid to know or have forgotten. Instead of using the actual police sirens, they vocalize it, and it lends to like the it lends to the aesthetic. That's the best way I could describe it. I like how some of the synth background music on this track reminds me of Sonic Genesis music. So, you know, that's always anything that reminds me of Genesis Sonic music is always a plus. I will say, much like what song was it that didn't have lyrics that jumped out at me? Clink. The no lyrics on this one jumped out at me either. I think the most interesting part of the song is the oh and the background track. And yeah, that is pardon me. That is Exmilitary by Death Grips. They did release an EP before the release of Exmilitary, and Exmilitary does have some tracks on that EP. I think the EP that they released first has a couple tracks that are exclusive to it that weren't on Exmilitary. So because I like listening to artists that I've never heard from before, I don't know if this is weird. I've been told by several people that this is a weird way to consume music, but I disagree heavily. I get told I like to listen to a band in their chronological release order, from like their very, very first release being an album, an EP, or whatever, and then, you know, go down the list chronologically until I'm caught up with their shit. Just because I like to see the evolution of the group and like see if like their sound gets better, gets worse, how like their styles change and develop over time. And I just get told by people, it's like, yeah, just listen to like their best shit for like the popular shit, and then you can like go back and listen to their other stuff. And I don't know, I like seeing the evolution play out in as close to real time as possible. So yeah. As for my final rating of Exmilitary, there were only a few tracks that like really stood out to me as like, oh damn, I would definitely re-listen to this a bunch of times on my own. And there are only a couple tracks that I think were like outright bad. Overall, it's still not quite my vibe, but also I've been seeing this opinion thrown around in the comments of a lot of the Death Grips songs, where it's like, the first time you listen to Death Grips, it's usually the worst time. Sort of like similar to it's like FromSoft Dark Souls game, where it's like the first playthrough is always the worst, and then the second and like consecutive like following playthroughs will always be the best ones, because you're more used to it. You're kind of conditioned into the mindset of what it's trying to convey, and is like something eventually like clicks in your brain. So I listened to the album through collectively twice. Some songs I listened to more than twice, but other songs I only capped out at 2 times. For now, and maybe this rating will change in the future, but for now, I would give this album a strong 6 to a light 7 out of 10. It's definitely, if I were to re-listen to it, I'd probably sooner give it a 7 than I would consider like dropping the score. which I know is probably not what Redneck wanted to hear, or Funky Boy Haas rather, for this rant, especially because he paid me quite handsomely to talk about it. But I would be interested in doing more or exploring more of Death Grip's soundtrack. I've heard a lot of good things about stuff like Year of the Snitch. Um, he's been ranting in Crunchy Bagels' Discord server about how awesome Death Grips is, and he's been going through the albums and reviewing them, dropping them in the music channel. And I definitely wouldn't be opposed to checking out more of it if it is so desired. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Any last minute thoughts that I have? I would say my favorite song on the mixtape would be Tachyon. Because I think that would make for a fucking both a badass Agnes Tachyon AMV edit, which I'm sure probably already exists if there's so many comments about her in that music tracks video on YouTube. And then it would also make for a great workout track. Like I can just imagine myself, and maybe I'll go do that today right after I upload this rant. I'll go to the gym and I'll pump iron while I get bombarded with God damn it, I burped when I was about to say it. Tachyon! And then my least favorite song, probably Beware. Through the Walls is also not great, but at least Through the Walls has the decency to be over in like half the time of Beware. So, yeah, 6 out of 10 could be closer to a 7 with enough re-listens, or if I like get more accustomed to the sound of Death Grips. But yeah, as far as first impressions go, I would say 6 out of 10. Maybe I'll develop a liking for it. Who knows? That's all for this one. Thank you so much for listening, and you'll see me next time.